Hi everyone. I recently gave interview at LTI Mindtree. So I have experience in Java, Spring Boot, JUnit, and Docker. So they asked me questions around that only, and some project related questions. So first was my technical round, and the second was managerial plus HR round. So uh, at Java part, they asked me to write a coding question. So that was to write a program to find the first non-repeating character in a string. And when I wrote, then they asked me to optimize it more. Then then they asked me questions on Java, like hash map, internal working of hash map, and then they asked me the difference between hash map and concurrent hash map. So I said like hash map is non thread safe, and concurrent hash map allows concurrent read writes that way. So then they asked me like explain fail fast versus fail safe iterators. So I said like I explained that, and along with some example. Then they asked me like difference between string builder and string buffer, so which one to use when. So yeah, then they asked me about oops concept and the difference between abstract class and interface, and when to use which one to use when. So like that. And then they asked me like explain executor service in Java, and some threading multi-threading questions, like thread life cycle and difference between volatile and transient keywords in Java. Okay, so that was all for Java part. Then they switched to Spring Boot, like what is at the rate Spring Boot application annotation. So you can explain like a combination of configuration at the rate enable auto configuration and component scan. So like that way I explain. Then they asked me how did you secure REST APIs in your project. So then they asked me like how to handle exception, and how did you handle exception in your project. So then they asked me like difference between at the rate component service and repository. So and also like can we use at the rate component instead of at the rate service on a class. So and then they asked me how to configure external properties, and how does Spring Boot auto configuration work. And they also asked me some question on Spring Boot Spring security part, and JPA part also, like at the transactional annotation working and all. Then they move to JUnit questions, like how do you mock dependency, and difference between mock and inject mock, difference between unit and integration test, how to test REST APIs, what is before each and after each, what is the difference between JUnit 4 and JUnit 5, and which one you use in your project, like that way. And how do you write parameterized test, and also some question on exceptions, like how did you write test cases for a method which throws exception, like that. Then they asked me some Docker related question, like difference between Docker image and container, what is Docker file, difference between Docker and VM. And also they asked me like how did you like set up Docker locally. So yeah, and then what is Docker compose, and then how to persist data in Docker, how to optimize Docker image size, And some AWS services related question also they asked, S3 service, how did we connect it to S3 bucket from our Spring Boot application. Yeah, some question on that part also. So yeah, that was all. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe.